So it's been almost 3 years on the dot today since I last posted, and a lot has changed. As you can see around me, we have a new space. I moved and now we're renting a house that grants me a 2-car garage. Also want to post a side note. Realized my camera is scratched on my phone, so I'm sorry about all the weird lighting. My left, your right, I have my girlfriend's 6'4" swapped Grand Cherokee that is really close to finished. We have wiring harness and a couple little things. And my poor MR2. You might be able to see here, I have a K20A2 that is ready to go in there for the most part. I have a couple bolts that I have to pull out of this that broke, but it's getting close. But I have slowly started to realize I have started a lot of projects and I have not finished them. And something I'm a little disappointed about is I haven't posted about any of this stuff. I have hours and hours and hours into this. We have a cam that's in here. We have new motor mounts, pulleys, you name it. This whole engine has been rebuilt. Stripped the heads out, cams out, lifter. There's everything. With this one, not so much has been done, but I've still done quite a bit outside the motor to clean it up, from trying some paint that didn't work out so well, so I'm gonna have to sandblast it back off, and a lot of other things. And then there's the space itself. I have a lift now. I never in a million years thought at home I would have a lift. I started my own company. I have done so many things that I have not posted about. And I'm kind of disappointed about that. As you can tell though, both of these cars need quite a bit of work. The Jeep, not as much. Excuse the clutter, we're trying to reorganize, but the MR2 needs quite a bit more. So let's start here with the Jeep. Excuse the mess. The shop is not where I am most of the time. I do most of my work mobile, so this is kind of my at-home play space. But starting with the Jeep, the motor for the most part is put together. There is a couple little things like I need to put in the thermostat, coil packs, little things like that, nothing major. As far as getting the engine where I considered finished, I need to take out the rear bell housing bolts because our flywheel cover, not flywheel, torque converter, whatever it is, I'm used to manuals, does not align quite right, and I don't really want to screw that up. So I'm going to move it, take those out, kind of rearrange it, get it to bolt in properly. Now, we already have the exhaust manifolds in. They are not currently connected to the exhaust, so I still have to do that. You can see here, steering linkage is not currently hooked up to the steering rack. That is up here, still disconnected. So that will need to go in. As obvious, there's no radiator or AC condenser, AC compressor, alternator. Most of the accessories aren't on it, but the engine itself is in. So I'm gonna lump all the accessories into one thing. The other big thing, as you can see up here, I do not have the AC lines connected. I made a mistake putting the 6.4 in. We caught one of the lines and broke it. So you can see here, I made a little bit of an oopsie. Well, I made that oopsie into 2 oopsies. I bought a replacement. Well, it's not quite exactly the same. Stock low pressure suction line has the port on the actual piece. The one I bought does not. So on the newer versions of the WK2 Grand Cherokees, that suction port is actually on the vehicle mounted side, not the lines. So I'm gonna have to buy another AC line to be able to get the rest of this. I'm gonna say right off the rip, this is not gonna be a great camera angle, but it is what it is. First thing I'm gonna put on here is the accessories. I already know I probably spelled that wrong, but that's why I'm a mechanic, not an English teacher. Second thing, exhaust. Also, this is really hard to be able to write neatly through a camera. Second is the exhaust. Next up is going to be our steering. Then we're on to some of the bigger stuff here. I need to hook up back most of the suspension because when we did this, I actually set the entire cradle on a hydraulic table, which is over here, and dropped the whole thing out. So the spindles are not currently hooked up to the upper control arms. So I'm gonna lump that all into suspension because some of it might need to be replaced. I think it was this passenger side that gave us a little bit of an issue. So with this, just to get the car running, there's a couple little things I'm not gonna put on here yet, but those are the main things here. You can probably see there's a bunch of body panels here and a big thing there. This Jeep has a full SRT / Trackhawk, whatever you'd like to call it, body kit that I've painted the bumper. I've painted a couple little things. They may need to be touched up, but that whole kit has to be installed for a trip we actually have coming up in June, which also leads me to needing a roof rack. But as if that alone wasn't hard enough, I really, really, really want to film and be able to post all this as well. So over the next month, I will be posting a little bit more frequently than I have been before, and I would like to keep that a regular thing. But for now, fixing the Jeep. Sorry, it's focusing really weird. Okay, now we have a bit better of a list. So accessories, alternator, AC, you name it. Exhaust, I still need to hook that up. I have half the hardware here because I wasn't about to buy it at the dealer, and I get a commercial discount through AutoZone. Steering, shouldn't be too hard, I really hope. Now that I said it, it's probably going to be. Suspension and brake upgrade. What I haven't said before, well, like I was saying, didn't say before, we bought the full Brembo package. If you didn't know, now you will. AutoZone sells the SRT brakes really cheap. Through my commercial discount, these were $75 a caliper. We have fronts and rears. SRV switch. On the stock 5.7 cars, which this originally was, there was no intake runner flap. So under higher RPM, this intake manifold has a flap in it to actually lengthen the runners to give you a little more top end power. So I have to hook up a SRV switch, which hooks up to the fuse box as well as the CAN system in the car to be able to be controlled by the dash on when this flap actually actuates. So you can roughly tune your power band a little bit on top of the car getting tuned, since this does have a Titan Stage 1 cam. Hellcat lifters, Hellcat oil pump, lots of goodies. To go along with the whole getting tuned thing, we have the AM wideband, just to be able to be tuned, have to have that. Roof rack, rooftop tent, and awning. At the moment, we have not picked which roof rack we want to use, but we have two companies that have hopped on board for sponsoring the products. I don't know necessarily how to explain that. They've given us the products for an honest review, which you guys will see, as well as the Facebook group that I run. But those two, I don't know if this is necessarily the first, but this will be a full-blown SRT by the time we're done. We have not started, but we will be swapping out the 65 RFE that is in here for an 8HP 70 eventually, with a couple other goodies. Also, should probably preface before anyone says, oh, why are you spending so much money on a Grand Cherokee when we could have just bought an SRT or Trackhawk or whatever the case may be to start with. So, yes, this was originally a 5.7, but this was my customer's car. They blew up the 5.7. They overheated it. I told them to stop driving it. They did not. They tried to drive it to my house to drop it off for repairs and blew it up. The heads were cooked. The bottom end is still fine, but did not really want to go back to the 5.7 platform because we got a really, really good deal on the 6.4 that's in there now. When we got the 6.4, we realized, well, we don't want to keep the factory MDS system that's in here. So we picked a cam just to fix that. Now we have, for all intensive purposes, a bulletproof motor to start with. Yes, we still want to do the 8HP 70. It is going to cost more money in the long run, but all considering, it is still cheaper than it would have been to buy the original 6.4 car to start with. So think about that before you say, oh, why are you doing all this? It still is a lot cheaper since I do all the labor for free. So the base build has to be done by June 14th, roughly. I have a lot to go. Now, on top of this whole list, I still work a full-time job. I own my own company. I'm a mobile mechanic full-time. So I have a lot of other things going on. This is going to be a very large undertaking. If any of you have ever filmed and tried to actually do work on a car, you know filming makes everything take 2 to 3 times longer just to be able to set up a shot, do the work, and make sure the work was visible and you weren't just shooting that the whole time. So I will be investing in a tripod, definitely. The next video, guys, you will see, I will actually be starting on this process. I guess we'll go over all the parts that we have, all the stuff we still have to buy, actually dig into putting this whole thing together. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys come back for the rest of not only the Jeep content, but more to come with the K-swapped MR2, because there is a lot to unpack and a lot to do with this car. But she gets first priority. So thank you guys for watching again, and I hope you come back for more.